Have you ever seen a simple neighborhood dispute get completely out of hand? Well, in a quiet Florida retirement community, a tiny fight over a single yard decoration just spiraled into this multi-year legal war with a price tag that is just, well, you won't believe it.
Yep, after 5.5 years of warnings, fines, and lawsuits, this was the final bill, nearly $250,000. I mean, to put that into perspective, that's more than a brand new Porsche. It's more than a 4-year college education, and it all started with a simple disagreement between a homeowner and his community board.
So you have to be asking, what on earth could be worth that much time, that much energy, and that much money? You know what kind of fight gets to $250,000 payout? A fence built on the wrong property line? Maybe a huge tree about to fall on a house? The real answer is a lot smaller than that.
That's it. This tiny 12-inch-high white cross. This little thing was at the heart of the entire 5.5-year battle. And that's really the central mystery we're going to unpack here. How in the world did we get from this little cross to a $243,000 bill?
Okay, so this story is all about a homeowner named Wayne Anderson. He lives in a place called The Villages in Florida, and he had a long standoff with the neighborhood's governing body, the Village Community Development District 8. And believe it or not, it all kicked off with a single anonymous complaint.
So this all got started way back in 2019 when someone filed an anonymous complaint about the Andersons' cross. Now here's what's so wild. About a dozen of his neighbors had the exact same cross in their yards, but for some reason, only his got singled out.
And this slide right here just lays out the whole problem perfectly. You see, on one side, the district called the cross yard art. They said it was a prohibited lawn ornament, basically no different than a plastic pink flamingo. But for the Andersons, it was a religious icon, and they argued they had a constitutional right to display it. To them, it felt like a clear case of selective enforcement.
You can just hear the frustration in Wayne Anderson's own words. His whole point was pretty simple. Look, this tiny cross isn't hurting anyone, so what's the big deal? In law, there usually has to be some kind of harm. He just couldn't see what it was.
So it started as just a simple warning. Well, it didn't go away. Instead, it escalated. It built from a minor little notice into this major legal fight that would drag on for over 5 long years.
Let's just walk through how this happened. It starts in 2019 with that complaint. Right after that, the district issues a warning and then starts hitting them with a $25 a day fine. Day after day, that fine just keeps adding up, which eventually leads to the district filing a lawsuit. And it isn't until 5.5 years later that they finally reach a settlement.
And let's just pause on that fine for a second. I mean, $25 a day might not sound like much, right? But over all those years, it ballooned to over $44,000. Can you just imagine that kind of financial pressure hanging over your head for years, all because of a small yard ornament?
So, after all that time, the lawsuit finally came to an end. But the resolution, of course, came with that staggering price tag we saw earlier. So, let's break down where all that money actually went.
The total came out to just about $250,000. Now, out of that, $70,000 was paid to the Andersons. But get this, the vast majority, a whopping $173,000, went to pay for the district's own lawyers and court costs. So what was the brilliant compromise that ended this epic, years-long legal saga? Okay, you ready for this? The cross gets to stay. The only condition? It had to be attached to a plant pot. That's it. Moving the cross from the grass onto a pot was the key that unlocked a $250,000 settlement. For Wayne Anderson, this whole thing was a victory. He felt that, even with the huge cost and all the stress, he had successfully defended his right to display his religious icon. He said it should never have happened in the first place, and that it should never happen to anyone again.
But for Wayne Anderson, winning the right to keep his cross wasn't the end of the story. Oh no. He decided to turn his incredibly frustrating experience into action, to try and make sure nobody else had to go through what he did.
So, in this amazing turn of events, Wayne Anderson has actually joined the very board he was fighting against. His goal now is to bring some common sense to the table and make sure no other resident gets trapped in a ridiculous, costly legal battle over something so small.
Ultimately, this story, as kind of absurd as it seems, it really raises a huge question that plays out in communities everywhere. It forces us all to ask, where exactly do we draw the line between enforcing community rules and protecting someone's personal and constitutional freedoms?